Hello friends and welcome back. My name is Katie and today I'm talking about the books that I am planning on taking on my little weekend away. I'm heading away for 4 days to Bateman's Bay and I'm going to be talking about quite a number of books which may seem excessive for a 4-day trip, but hear me out. I'm going to Bateman's Bay to spend some time with my grandfather who's not very well. I've been trying to get to Bateman's Bay and things have been keeping me, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it will be happening this weekend. I'm going with my partner Blair and we are catching public transport all the way there, and it is a 12-hour trip each way. So I'm only going for 4 days and 2 of those days will be taken up all day with the traveling. I've only done this trip once before and one way, and on that trip I finished 2 books. I read Lenny's Book of Everything by Karen Foxley and I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. So it's only 4 days, but I know I'm going to need to pack enough to keep me occupied for essentially 24 hours of traveling, plus a bit of reading in the 2 days while we're there, of course. The other thing I've taken into consideration is the fact that my concentration hasn't been great lately, and I have been really enjoying blended reading, so listening and reading at the same time. So a lot of these books that I've chosen because I currently have access to audiobooks as well as my physical copies. And of course, I'm a mood reader, so I may change my mind at the last minute, but these are the books that I'm keeping out, that I'm setting aside, and I'm planning to pack and take along with me. First and foremost, the only non-fiction I'll be taking is My Friend Fox by Heidi Everett. This is actually my book club, my Blossom Book Club pick over on my Patreon this month. And so obviously I need to read it for the book club, but also I've mostly chosen fantasy books. So I'm hoping this will sort of break it up a little bit and provide a little bit of variety. In this, Heidi shares her story of being diagnosed with schizophrenia and autism and just her life as a mental health patient. It's described as part parable, part memoir. With Fox as her guide, Heidi comes to know how to live authentically and venture into a future of her own making. It's even got some beautiful illustrations throughout, the favorite of which that I've seen in my flip through is on these end pages here. It seems like it's going to be a really sweet, moving, emotional kind of read. Andrew Denton describes it as tender, wise, and deeply true. Now, although this weekend I really wanted to focus on books that I am genuinely excited for and books that I've picked for myself, I did still feel like I needed to take a book or two that would also help me with work as being a children's bookseller. So I've decided to take along A Skin Full of Shadows by Frances Hardinge. And this is a ghost story book that we keep in our YA section. And I've heard several of my colleagues recommend this to young readers who are perhaps beyond their reading level and are really strong readers but don't want some of the more explicit content that often comes along in some YA books. Sometimes when a person dies, their spirit goes looking for somewhere to hide. Some people have space within them. Perfect for hiding. I've never read anything by this author, but we often stock several of their books at work, so it'll definitely be a good one for me to read, and I am looking forward to it. Now, a book that I have an audiobook for, and I genuinely something about this appeals to me so much, and I'm really hopeful I end up liking it. That is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. This is the first in a fantasy series, which is basically written as if it is a memoir of Lady Trent, who is the preeminent dragon specialist. And I think it's set, I don't know exactly when it's set, but it's sort of got an old-timey feel from memory. Though dragons may not exist in our own world's history, it is certain that the struggles of women like Trent do, and Brennan captures both with equal elegance. I just love the sound of this, and I'm not one to usually predict 5 stars, but I just feel like if this ends up being executed in the way that I think it's going to be, or that I hope it is, I think this could be a new favorite. I love the sound of it, the premise, the setup. Oh, it just sounds so fun. From what I can tell, the people who love this series are the people who love Lady Trent and who fall in love with her as a character. And as a very character-driven reader, that tends to be true for me anyway. So fingers crossed I fall in love with her, because I think this could be something I could really love. The next book I'm planning on taking, partly because it sounds cozy and fun, but also because I did manage to get a copy of the audiobook from my library, is A Marvelous Light. This is a fairly new release fantasy book, and I think it's a bit of a mystery, a bit of a queer love story from memory, a hidden world, a magical conspiracy, and a thrilling romance. And what absolutely sold me was a quote from Kat Howard here on the back, which says, "If you ever wish Downton Abbey was sharper edged and full of magic, this is the book for you." And as someone who has watched Downton Abbey more times than I'd like to admit, I think this could be a book for me. Another book that I managed to get out from the library as an audiobook is Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. And from what I can tell, this is a fantasy book all about the magic of tea making, which immediately sold me if the cover hadn't already. This is so gorgeous. It sounds like our main character, who is skilled in the art of tea making, enters a competition in hopes of saving her sister's life. And it's got court politics, mystery, and a boy with a shocking secret. I've already got a bookmark in here, so you know I'm keen. And that is already 5 books that I'm thinking of taking with me, but I've got a few more that are in contention to become the 6th. The first is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, and the second is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Both of these are YA fantasy titles that have been really quite popular at work. Both have gorgeous covers. The only reason I'm hesitating on these is that I don't have audiobooks for either. Another one I'm considering, and I do have an audiobook for this one, is The City of Brass by Chakraborty. And this is the first in a fantasy trilogy that I've heard incredible things about. The benefit for choosing this one as my 6th one is obviously I've got the audiobook, but also it's quite a bit longer than the others, so it will occupy plenty of time while I'm away. So like I said, I may change my mind, but I'm thinking that these are the 6 books that I will take away with me on my 4-day trip. Hearing me say that out loud, it does sound really excessive, but like I explained, there's an awful lot of downtime sitting on a bus and a train doing not much else other than reading. Anyway, just a fun little quick video. Any excuse to talk about some books, right? I'm sure I'll do a reading vlog while I'm away, so look forward to that. Thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this video, and especially big thank you goes to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon, and an especially big thank you to Livia, Lynette Brown, and Marie for their very generous support. Let me know in the comments below which of these 3 books you think should be my 6th that I take along with me, and I will talk to you again very soon. Until then, happy reading. Bye.